Peter Charles here, Hooked for Life Fly Fishing. And let's talk about like a symptom of casting problems that shows up as a very low stopping point on our forward cast that produces wide open sloppy loops and we don't get much distance. Really, this is just a symptom of a whole bunch of other problems that we talk about, but I thought, you know what, let's talk about this low stopping point issue just for no other reason than to allow people to see it as a symptom and recognize it in their own casting. Because if you've not been exposed to this as a problem, you may think this is the normal way. You may not recognize what's actually going on. And what I'm talking about really is when people are making a cast, the rod ends up literally in front of them because they haven't turned the body. They're locked on the target as usual. And then as a consequence, their casting arc is relatively short, and so they end up making this really low stopping point, something that looks like this, because this is their casting arc from here to here. And that's a good sized casting arc, except it's where it's located is the problem. So let's take a look at some examples here. So here's a very ugly looking low stop. And you can see the hand. I'll stop that for a second. Just a slight tilt back. The hands are in front of me. Everything's in front of me. The rod is, my hands are, and the rod has just a slight backward angle. And then as I go forward, now that is where I'm actually starting the power stroke, which is here. So the rod is like literally in front of me, and I'm starting from here. So that's where the red line is, where I'm starting, and the green line is where I should be starting. So you can see the difference right there in the beginning point of the arc. So you can see here, this is where I really start to apply my power. Like rods like that. It's vertical. And my hands are in front of me, like that. So that's where my power stroke actually starts in this example. And I stop very, very low. As a consequence, because my casting arc is like this. Should be like this. Same amount of arc, just placed further back. And you can tell people, aim high. It doesn't help. If your starting point is so much in front of you, aiming high is not going to help because you're starting about where you should be stopping. It doesn't help at all. So there's what I should have been doing in green, and in red is what I actually did. And you can see if I took that red arc and moved it, it would be about the same as the green arc. So the whole idea is to start further back. If you start further back, it solves everything, and you won't stop low. So the question is, how do you start further back? And, we've talked about this 100 times. Your low stop is a symptom of other problems, and it's a symptom of things like creeping, which we've talked about, or that hitching where you sort of do this giddy-up motion. Watching the anchor is the big one. Oh, geez. So many problems go linked to people glued on the target and not turning their heads. And using only your arms to cast, which again all factors in, all comes part of the same problem. So the easiest solution is when you turn your body to watch your anchor, look where everything goes. Even if you don't raise your arms, even if you just stay here, you've now got this motion. Now I'll turn sideways. So I've turned my body. Now I've got that motion when I look at the anchor. Or I'll do it this way. Be better. So I look at my anchor. My body's turned. And then I come forward and I finish there. Same arc. Just started it further back. And it's pretty simple when you think about it. And it starts with not being fixated on the target and watching your anchor. I said right at the very beginning, watching your anchor solves a huge number of problems. And this is one of them. Get your head off the center line, turn it around, move your shoulders. And once you do that, your rod goes back. Now you have the ability to make a high stop. Because your arc is still the same, but it's not like that. It's like this. and all we've done is shift it. So if you are having a problem with the low stopping point, and when you finished your cast, when you finish your power stroke, look where it is. And if it's sticking out like this, low down, your rod is almost horizontal or is horizontal with the water, there's your problem. And that tells you everything else is wrong. So all this is your final confirmation that you're not casting very well. And you might finish this in this position when you're fishing, but that's not where your stopping point should be. Your stopping point should be up here somewhere, not down there. And there's your clue right off the bat. And you're seeing that, and your casts aren't going very far, and you've got huge wide open loops, and you're using way too much energy. This is your diagnostic, that low stopping point. Now you can work your way back and say, okay, and it's because my eyes are glued on the target. And once you get out of that habit, it fixes everything. So, stop looking at the target, watch your anchor. I say it over and over and over again, but that's the bottom line with this. You do those two things, problem solved. Cheers.